You're listening to The Alex Jones Show. Crashing through the lies and disinformation, it's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Radio.
Well, we're going to talk about what's really important here today, ladies and gentlemen. At least in the last 30 minutes of the broadcast, in about an hour and a half, we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers game. Dallas losing in the fourth quarter with 2 touchdowns, because I'm the big sports broadcaster now. We're going to talk conspiracy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but everyone I know, I didn't watch the game. Even though I was at a laser tag place with my children, they had it up on big screen television everywhere. The parents were all there ignoring their children and watching the game. So I saw some of it, but I wasn't officially watching it. It is a controversy. Did Dez Bryant get robbed of an amazing catch? Well, I've seen the play replayed over and over again. I'm no NFL ref, but call me a turnip plant if he didn't catch the ball fair and square. And there were some other plays like that. So he called Brian Toohey. He, of course, has been a guest on everything from ESPN to you name it. He wrote The Fix Is In. Professional sports, but also right now to high school sports, has massive betting on it. And fixing games, fixing boxing matches is ubiquitous. There is a massive cultural conspiracy, though, of not wanting to admit it because it's become the center of American life, at least the center of American male life. So we will talk to the author of The Fix Is In. You know what? Let's just get him on at the start of the second hour. I said the last 30 minutes. Let's do the start of the second hour if he can do it. I know we called him on short notice. We called him and I said, does this look staged? Because a lot of stuff we call him on, he says, no, it doesn't look staged. He said, very, very suspicious. And he's gotten into the secretive FBI files, you name it, and gotten documents out nobody else has. So he is the expert on fixing games. That is from a journalist perspective. Obviously, we know who the real expert is. Be somebody like Don King or folks out in Las Vegas. But the naive public, some of the public still doesn't think there's any fixing. That's why when famous baseball players like Rose and others got caught doing it, it was such a big deal. And folks got lifetime bans because the public is supposed to be naive and not know this type of stuff is going on so that they're just blissfully ignorant for the rest of their lives. That is coming up in the second hour because I don't usually get into distractions and diversions like sports, but if I can show people how it's robbing them of their lives, robbing them of their manhood, robbing them of true military thinking that your brain's designed to engage in daily life, in business, in politics, in religion, and that they suck all of those calculative energies into football and fantasy football and baseball and basketball, when you realize that it's designed as a gladiatorial diversion, it's very helpful for a lot of folks. Sports addiction is what I'd call it. Video game addiction. Statistically, these guys that play 10 hours of video games a day are economically in bad shape. They're disconnected from reality. They're not living in the real world. And so really, it's a discussion about the matrix in the larger sum total. So that's coming up today in the second hour. In the meantime, the really important news, world news. Worldwide terror freakout over the 15 dead in France. Science and tech news. It's all coming up. Oh, guess what? Infowars.com. Dead French terrorist linked to Pentagon dinner guest Anwar al-Awlaki, the leader of al-Qaeda, who secretly hangs out at the Pentagon. That was in the London Guardian, by the way. We're going to go over all this and more. And I saw a demonstration for Charlie Hebdo in Austin. I caught video of it. That's coming up, too. Every year we make resolutions to lose weight and get in shape. And the truth is, it's hard, even with diet and exercise, because of toxic food in our environment that is stressing our bodies more than ever before. Working with experts in nutrition and biochemistry, I found that super high-quality nutraceuticals, in addition to my diet and exercise, were the answers that synergistically worked. I could see the drastic changes every day with the amount of weight I've lost, my increased stamina, and more of a twinkle in my eye. That's why we are now so excited to launch the InfoWars Life Resolution Pack, combining 3 essential formulations: oxygen-based cleanser Oxy Powder, the Secret 12 bioavailable vitamin B12, and your choice of super female or super male vitality. Now all available at a discounted price to you and your family to bring in the new year and make 2015 a true success. That's InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. 2015 is the year to do it, and it all starts at InfoWarsLife.com.
We now take you live to the Central Texas Command Center and the heart of the resistance, rallying patriots worldwide. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. It is the 11th day of January 2015. We are broadcasting worldwide live on this Sunday transmission. I'm your host, Alex Jones. We're going to be here for the next 2 hours. We have the author, Brian Tuohy, of The Fix Is In, one of the leading experts on fixed sports, and government media really works to cover this up because the amount of gambling on sports is roughly 8 times, in the studies he and others have done, 8 times the profit that professional sports get from television, advertising, and ticket sales. So sports is about gambling. And it's also about diverting the public and distracting them into what I call a proto-matrix of things that really don't matter. A male soap opera with all the players and the baseball cards and the rest of it. I'm not criticizing people that love sports. It's just that they criticize me when they start asking me about the game and what I think, and I just say, sorry, I don't follow it. They will just shake in disbelief and laugh at me. I'm sorry, I follow business and academia and science and government and geopolitical systems, and that's why, on record, major leaders of governments listen to the show. It's why we're the #1 broadcast from every metric out there at the Pentagon. That's why we have so many CIA and NSA and FBI and you name it, whistleblowers here on this broadcast, because I live in a real man's world. Not in a fantasy man's world, watching other men slap each other on their butts. And I want to be clear, I played football, I went to Dallas Cowboys games, I grew up in Dallas, Texas. I like football. But what it's been turned into with its Obamacare pushing, its anti-gun garbage, firing the host of Monday Night Football, Hank Williams Jr., because he criticized Obama on Fox News. Oh, but there's Charlie Hebdo demonstrations all over the world. I saw one in Austin today. I was driving around downtown, drove by the city council building, about 400 people demonstrating. I have video of it. One of my tech folks, Buckley Hammond, is in there downloading it right now. We'll have that for TV viewers. We're simulcasting TV at Infowars.com/show. You can find the free feed. Or go to PrisonPlanet.tv and subscribe to get it all in HD and see the nightly news and all my films and more. But the point is that we're going to break all that down as well and look at the announcements being made. Our story from Infowars.com with links to the foreign press making the announcements is top linked at DrudgeReport.com, and we'll go there and click through that for folks. Government prepares internet speech crackdown following Paris attacks. That's the top link there at DrudgeReport.com. We're going to be going over that. So demonstrate and march for free speech and stand up against the fear of terrorism, which I'm absolutely for, but then censor free speech and continue opening the borders and bringing radicals in at record levels. We're going to decipher this, decode it, break it all down today. And then again, in the second hour, we're going to talk sports betting fraud. We're going to talk, well, the number one area for fraud is with the refs. You target the refs when you can't get 11 people on each side of the football to basically throw it, when you can't get the quarterback to throw it, when you can't get a key running back to throw it, because the coach will just put somebody else in there if they're not performing. Who do you go after? You go after the refs. And the Cowboys were propelled into the playoffs with obviously fraudulent calls with the Lions, and now they've been taken out by Green Bay with two different plays that a vegetable could watch, a turnip could watch, as I said earlier. A turnip could watch it and see that it was clearly caught. So we're going to be breaking it all down today, ladies and gentlemen, and looking behind the curtain of sports. Looking behind the curtain of what most men see as their identity as a male is watching narcissistic males be worshipped on television while their lives fall apart and while they conquer nothing and their wife tells them what to do all day. Or they sit in the basement in their underwear eating Hot Pockets and Funyuns, scratching their huevos while their wife bosses them around, or they don't even have a wife. While their kids play Xbox Connect in the next room, being biometrically scanned and put into a database. While Samsung comes out with their new smart digital TVs and says, third parties are listening and watching you, so watch what you say. That was in the owner's manual that came out 2 months ago. While all these insane things are going on, while we're signed on to $2 quadrillion in foreign fake derivatives debt, that's not our debt. That's 2,000 trillion, ladies and gentlemen. That's the global derivatives, and we're signed on to about half of that. The U.S. is. It's not our debt. It's fraudulent mega banks' debt. The public is ignorant about economics. They're ignorant about the banking cartels. They're ignorant about the private run-for-profit Federal Reserve. They're ignorant about the social engineering that's going on. The real game is the fight against the globalist. A game is a simulation generally of warfare or of business, of competition. But what happens when the game becomes the whole world and that's all people care about, and then your life is not successful, you're not fulfilled because you've put your whole identity into a game or into the color of your skin? Oh, I've got to support Obamacare. Obama's black. I don't want to be called racist. Or, oh, I better support it. I'm black and Obama's black. Or, I better turn my guns in. I'll be called racist. I better speak the way the media says, or I'll be called politically incorrect. Who cares what a bunch of social engineers tell us to do? Reject their culture. That's what I'm going to get into in the second hour. Now, that said, last week I told the crew, don't really dig it up because I say it so much, what's the point of doing it? But I even Google searched, Alex Jones says ISIS will attack the West, or Alex Jones says Al-Qaeda in Syria, well, what it was previously called till a year ago, will attack the West. And all the videos come up from the radio show, the nightly news. It's all there. We're going to get some of those clips tomorrow so that for new listeners, we can show you that we predicted all this. So let's get one thing straight first. Radical Islamic terror is real and does take place and does happen. And from all the MO I've looked at, it looks like these 3 attackers in France were real terrorists and that what happened basically happened. Now let's remove that out of the equation. I'm going to come back and break this down with all the latest news. It was the White House Chief of Staff, now the mayor of Chicago, the Don, Rahm Emanuel, his brother helped write Obamacare that has the death panels and admits it and laughs at everyone. And then, we're going to bankrupt everything. He says that on Fox News, just like Gruber laughing at us, but that's another side issue. He said, you don't let a good crisis go to waste.